still got tons of people that are eating on my soul right now.
Get moving! Somebody tell them! Oh my God!
I knew if I did not take out his soul, he was coming to take mine next. He died.
On the night of February 2nd, 2013, officers with the Lancaster Police Department respond to a call informing them that a suspect who committed a horrendous act was sitting in a stolen truck just outside his residence. Despite their efforts to coax him out of the truck, he suddenly takes off, leading police on a dangerous high-speed chase.
Get moving! Somebody tell them! Oh my God!
As the suspect turns a corner, he can be seen jumping the curb and driving at dangerous speeds down a residential sidewalk. However, this is still only the beginning of the strange turns and bizarre events this case is going to expose.
I'll call the chase, another unit in front, west on Pleasant Run, passing 1,000 block. 1,000 block, passing Pleasant Run.
Stay straight.
3200.
Don't let him stop on us.
3200.
He's going to lost here. What?
I'm on the service road, northbound on the service road.
The events leading up to this moment began hours ago when an emergency call was placed to Somerville County dispatchers.
911, where's your emergency?
Yes, ma'am. I need an ambulance out to Rough Creek Lodge and Resort.
Okay, Rough Creek Lodge. And what's going on?
I just had a report of two unconscious men out at my long-range shooting range.
Deputies arrived to find two deceased men with multiple gunshot wounds, lying near a scattering of shell casings. The suspect had fled the scene in a truck belonging to one of the victims, and his identity is unknown. The Texas Rangers are called to investigate and informed that one of the victims is a widely known public figure. Immediately, news of his death begins to spread like wildfire. The suspect would soon be identified, as his sister would call 911 to say her brother, 25-year-old Eddie Ray Routh, came to her home and confessed to the killings before fleeing once again. She then called her mother, Jody, who contacted Detective Chevra, Eddie's next-door neighbor and friend. Upon learning Eddie was involved, he races to his home to search for him. It isn't long before he pulls up to the home in the stolen truck with no intention of surrendering.
Watch it. He's got a rifle. Careful, Dave. Fucking great. He's got a lot on him. Huh? Back it up. Back it up. Hey, he got the gun. It's done. Got a lot on him. Give me a lot on him. Give me a lot right on him.
In a situation that is only going to grow more tense, officers don't know yet that they've barely scratched the surface of this sinister case and its peculiar suspect.
Watch it. See. Eddie! 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 Turn it off, Eddie! Turn it off, Eddie! Turn it off! Eddie! Turn it off, please! Eddie! It's Sergeant Logan! Jesse, turn off the truck, guys. Come talk to you. Come on with your hands open, buddy. It's not worth it. I'm going to shoot out the tires. No, just hang tight. Eddie! Don't get him beside it. Eddie! Eddie, don't go nowhere. Eddie! Tires, get off. Eddie! Come on, guy. Eddie! Come talk to me. Come on out, Eddie! Come talk to us. Hey. Eddie, come talk to us. Come on, Eddie.
The officers appear on edge, knowing there are firearms inside the truck. Given his friendship with the suspect, officers quickly call on Detective Chevra to step in, seemingly hopeful that he may be able to de-escalate this outlandish situation.
Keep your hands right there, man. Hey, let Jesse talk to you. Jesse, come here. Jesse, gonna talk to you. Eddie. All right, look, guys. I know this looks really bad right now, but we're all scared here too. Hey, do me a favor. If you can hear me clearly, just shut the truck off for a minute.
While you talk to me.
Okay? Turn it off for a minute.
Turn it off for a second.
Turn it off and talk to me, okay? We're trying to figure it out right now, okay? We're trying to figure it out right now. So right now, the best thing for everybody is you step out of the truck with your hands open so we can see, everybody can relax, okay? Now, I want you to open the door very slowly and come out with your hands straight up and come talk to me, okay?
I don't know that I can trust anymore, Jeff.
Eddie, I don't want to hurt you, Eddie. Okay? We all grew up together here. Listen to me, buddy. Okay? This is going to be bad for everybody if you don't do as I asked you. Trust me, because your parents are going to get really hurt if we don't get this thing resolved peaceably, okay?
Detective Chevra continues pleading with Eddie, but his paranoid behavior seemingly has the other officers on high alert.
Throw me the keys out here as a gesture that you're not going to run off while I try to get them down here, make this trip, try to get down here, okay?
Get somebody to get a car around and get ready to block him. You hear me?
No, because
get somebody to get around there and fucking block him if he goes take off.
Okay. Let me ask you this.
Somebody get the car around here and block it.
No, don't block it yet. Just get ready to block.
Okay.
Get ready to block.
Find that out together.
Trust and who I can't trust in this world now.
Okay. You have no reason not to trust me here.
I
Okay.
can't trust you anymore.
What are you talking about?
There's no trust in this world anymore.
Uh-huh.
It went down so fast, I didn't really even have a chance to realize what was happening. And now I just don't even know if I can trust doctors, cops, I don't know.
Well, the people...
I tried to talk to my sister today, and it was weird talking to them. I tried to talk to my uncle later this afternoon. It was weird talking to him.
After fleeing the crime scene, Eddie made multiple stops, details of which remain unknown for now. During the standoff, his seemingly unstable state of mind becomes increasingly evident.
Is this about like hell walking on earth right now?
I'm not sure what you mean by that, but...
Hell's walking on earth with us right now.
Tell him you'll walk over to the house and talk to him. He'll get out with his hands up.
Well, what I'm trying to tell you is that I'll walk over here to your house or your front yard, and my hands will be open and your hands will be open, and we can talk about this, and we can call your mom and dad on my phone, and you can tell them that you need to see them.
None of my friends are in town anymore. I've been looking for all my friends.
He'll get out and go walk.
While it appears Detective Chevra remains hopeful he can reason with Eddie, other officers consider a riskier approach.
Yes, and if I guarantee you that...
If he can roll the window down,
Well, the federal government can't
and I'll hold the light on him. If his knees up right through there,
Okay, yes, you're right.
tase his ass.
But if I get your parents on the phone or get your friend to come down here and get here in 2 or 3 hours, will you come with me and wait with you till they get there?
The two victims, who were close friends, were identified as 35-year-old Chad Littlefield and 38-year-old Chris Kyle, author of the best-selling memoir American Sniper. Chris had recently gained national attention due to the upcoming film adaptation of his book. Eddie's horrifying reasons for turning on them remain to be seen. For now, the focus shifts to de-escalating the baffling situation officers have found themselves in with Eddie, though their presence only seems to heighten Eddie's paranoia.
I've been watching it on the news for weeks, or, 2-3 days now, Jesse. The anarchy has been killing the world.
I'm going to call your parents, okay? But if they're going to agree to come down, are you listening to me?
People sneaking around the truck, they need to stop sneaking around the truck.
I don't know what's going on. Give me a second, okay? Okay. But here.
Can I get that light off my face for a second?
Okay, but hear me out, okay? We need to see your hands, okay? We need to see that you are at peace and we can relax. What could help it? We can turn the light off if you'll do this. If you drop that window over and put your hands on the steering wheel, and then we can drop the light so we can kind of not put it in your eyes, okay?
I can't drop the window because then y'all win.
How do we win, Eddie?
If I drop the window far enough, y'all are going to take me out of this truck.
No, Eddie, no. I'm not going to walk up there and yank you out of the truck and not as anybody else either, okay? Eddie, don't do that. Let me call your parents.
We'll call them and get them on the phone and get them down here.
Okay.
Do you think he's going to roll the window down? Will you tase him?
I'm going to call, okay?
With the possibility that his parents may be able to calm him down, Detective Chevra gets Eddie's mother, Jody, on the phone.
Eddie, I'm going to tell her what we talked about, okay? Hey, Jody?
I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
I need to trust my
Eddie doesn't know what's going on. We don't know exactly what's going on either. But here's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get Eddie to come out of the truck and come with us. But here's the deal. Eddie said he will come out of the truck. If you guarantee you'll come down tonight if he wants to see y'all. I'm trying to talk to him into coming with me. Be safe and secure till you get here so you don't have to rush and be worried about him something happening. Because you can't tell what's going on here over the phone.
Well, I can't help him over the phone. If he will come with you, you can help him. Eddie says he will help you. You know he will.
I can't trust that, Mom.
Do you want to talk to Daddy?
Yeah, I want to. I don't even know if I can trust him or not.
Eddie, have I ever given you a reason not to trust me in anything?
Yes.
When?
These past couple of days, it's getting so crazy around here. I don't know what to do.
Whatever the situation, I'm not going to guide you wrong. Okay? I'm not going to do that, Eddie. Only thing we can do at this point is go forward and go up with the situation up in a way that's going to be best for you, for your parents, me, everybody around us.
His dog.
And big dog?
Yeah.
Despite the combined efforts of Jody and Detective Chevra, Eddie still refuses to leave the truck. He's clearly on edge, and it won't be long before his paranoia will reach a breaking point.
Do y'all have any guns?
Do we have guns? Well, we have to. It's our job.
I do too. It's my job.
Okay. Well, that's a good possibility you do, but we don't want to show our guns, or you don't want to show yours.
We don't need that.
No, we don't. There you go. See, we agree on the same thing.
Well, if that's not a problem, then I'm going to crank this truck and move forward.
Eddie, don't do that, Eddie.
I can't keep sitting here watching these cats scurry by and they're moving all around me that I don't even know about.
Eddie, don't crank that truck up because I know you probably want to go to your house, but I'm worried that before you get to your house, you will make a decision and keep going. And we don't want to do that, Eddie.
A sudden movement by Eddie sets the surrounding officers on high alert.
Tell him he'll walk to the house. Hey.
Eddie, what's that? You got a phone?
Yes, sir.
Tell him you'll walk to the house with him.
He's on the phone with somebody.
Looks like he answered it.
Right.
Do you think that door's locked?
Right.
Yeah, he lost it.
He's on the phone.
He reached up and locked it.
He has a phone now.
Though the officers were unaware at the time, the cell phone Eddie answered did not belong to him. On the other end of the line was a man named Chet, attempting to reach one of the victims, Chad Littlefield. In a later interview, Chet explains the chilling encounter.
I picked up the phone and called Chad. Immediately he picked up the phone. It was that. First thing, and he knows my name, and I don't know if that's why, or he picked up the phone and I said, Chad, this is Chet. What is going on? Is everything okay? And he answered back, what do you mean, what's going on? And I said, I noticed the voice wasn't Chad. And I said, this is not Chad. I said, who is this? And he said, this is Eddie. And I said, oh, I'm sorry, Eddie, I must have their old phone number. And hung up.
Now tell me how it is that you know Eddie.
Well, his sister used to babysit my kids. I know his mom and his dad. His mother teaches at my kids' school. And if I would have only known that was Eddie Routh on the end of the phone that I talked to.
While Chet's connection to Eddie is clear, the relationship between Eddie and the victims, Chad and Chris, remains a mystery. How they ended up together this fateful night and what transpired between them will soon come to light. In the meantime, Eddie has been in the truck for nearly 30 minutes, and the tense situation is moments away from exploding into chaos.
Have you thought of anything that would maybe work this thing out to where we could kind of, me and you go together and then wait for your mom and dad? Excuse me, I got some gas here. Have you thought of anything?
Tell somebody to block that car off. It's turning.
Okay. Well, can you just make sure they don't do me a favor, Eddie. I'm not trying to treat you like a kid, but we want to relax and we don't want to misinterpret something. Just kind of keep your hands up the way you've been doing, and just so we can see and we can all relax a little bit, okay?
First, we need to make sure that we doesn't anybody done this way on the system.
Well, no, because then we can't hear you if you try to call me because it's so loud. This diesel's so loud.
If I need you, I'll turn it off to talk to you.
Eddie. 5 minutes, Eddie. Okay?
Without warning, Eddie steps on the gas and flees the scene. Ten minutes later, the vehicle's tires are damaged from the stop sticks that the officers had placed. The vehicles come to a complete stop immediately after.
It's gonna be alright, Eddie, okay? Just calm down. I know we don't either, but we're gonna work this thing out, okay?
It's in my right part.
We've already covered.
I'm gonna call his parents.
I don't understand why the world
is already
As Eddie is checked for injuries by paramedics, an officer poses an important question.
Eddie, why'd you run? I put out the panic attack. I don't know if that's something that's on the road right now. I can't even sleep zone outside. I was raised in, you know.
With Eddie secured in custody, he's brought to the station for an interview. While he awaits questioning, Eddie begins to speak to an officer sitting off camera. His bizarre comments hinting that the following interrogation will be anything but ordinary.
Everybody knows me the right thing to do this, so you know what I mean?
What you say?
The right things and the wrong things to do in the world.
Yeah.
There is certain things you gotta start doing. I just hope my mom and dad aren't too late, you know? To see it.
They won't be.
Why is this world, why?
Eddie.
Why didn't we see it coming before, and before, and before, and before?
But you know what? You're asking questions that have already been asked many times, and the world keeps going.
Ranger Briley soon enters, appearing ready to get to the bottom of today's tragedy.
Came in, talked with you a little bit this evening, and I know you've had a rough time.
I have been having a pretty rough time of it, you know?
I just want to sit in here and visit with you and talk to you about it and see what I can do.
Is there any way I can get these taken off? Back up?
I'll have to talk to these guys about doing that. Still trying to find out a lot of stuff, but
me too.
Let me.
I'm trying to find out more about the world that I've been living in too. Ranger Briley next reads Eddie his Miranda rights, but his response is only the beginning of the unsettling answers that soon follow.
You understand those rights? I go around and talk to people a lot, and
I never knew that counseling was more, counseling between men and women needed to be more heavy in the world than it did. But when you're surrounded on all fronts where you begin, you can't just start in one place,
Right. You understand those rights, so you're okay with talking with me, right?
Well,
Did you find with that?
I've been living with somebody with their hand up my ass my whole life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not okay with that. That is not right.
Somebody doing that to you.
So sad how it had to happen and stuff, and how it did happen.
Yeah, it's
I just wish it would stop, you know? Isn't there world councils that can speak about this?
there has to be.
There has to be, to keep people accountable,
Yeah,
you know?
right.
Evidently, you know?
You're right.
For stuff like this that people that you can't walk on common ground with because they never walked on the same ground with you, you know what I mean?
Right.
With Eddie making little sense, Ranger Briley appears to formulate an idea for what could possibly explain his odd behavior.
Was there a time today you used any drugs?
Yeah, I did use some tobacco today.
Yeah, I was kind of looking at your eyes a little bit constricted. I thought maybe you might have used some methamphetamine or something today.
I had not.
Oh, you have not?
I did not.
Okay. Have you used
That's why I've been having such a hard time sleeping, because I haven't been taking drugs, and I can't sleep at night.
Though Eddie claims that he hasn't consumed substances aside from tobacco, the question was likely posed due to what was uncovered during a search of his residence. Among the items found in his home were a blue jean jacket with possible bloodstains, firearm ammunition, and a small box containing paraphernalia.
Was there a bong, like a drug bong, in some of your stuff?
Tobacco.
Is that what was in the bong? Is that true or not? I don't know. You know, you have to be truthful with me if it wasn't. Just be truthful. What was in that bong?
There's probably some pot in there too, you know.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of pot.
All right. And what else?
You know, can't trust anything in Texas with weed in it, because it's usually laced up so tied with different drugs.
Had you used it today?
Yeah.
And you're being truthful with me?
Yes, sir. I smoked a little bit today. I've got so many abandonment issues and trust issues here that I don't know what to think, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been having these problems in my town since I was growing up, you know, since a boy. I'm trying to fix this that's wrong in our country right now. Evidently, the Communism Party wants to run rampant in America. The communism times are here upon us, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The Reds are already eating up all the Indians. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
It's tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
It's the ones that can't eat the Indians that want, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have problems about.
Sure.
Eddie would later admit that he thought his neighbors were bloodthirsty savages and cannibals, and believed that his excrement would travel to his neighbor's home through the sewers, where his neighbor would eat it. As Ranger Briley continues to navigate Eddie's confusing rhetoric, the focus of the conversation shifts to the crime that brought them here in the first place.
I want to talk about what happened. And you can start with when you woke up today.
Well, you know, I keep talking to Chris, you know. I keep talking to Chris in my world, and it seems like every time I talk to another man named Chris, I just get sent to another man named Chris. I think about talking to the wolf, you know, to the one in the sky. The ones in the sky are the ones that fly, you know what I mean? The pigs in the world. They can truly say they're pigs. I've been smelling it this whole time, you know. I'm just tired of everybody bullshit. I can smell bullshit pigs, you know. I can tell the difference between two different kinds of pigs. I don't know about how you can smell your I mean, I'm not trying to say nobody's stinking, but stinking, you know what I mean?
And what exactly happened today after you woke up?
I'm finally getting rest. Peace in my mind, you know?
Yeah.
Pieces of my mind back that I won't ever get back.
Where are you from, Eddie? I mean, I don't know you. You understand that? I don't know where you're from.
I was born right here in this land, in Lancaster that we're standing in today. Lancaster, Texas.
In an interview with Eddie's parents, his mother Jody begins to elaborate on her son's history as a United States Marine and the experiences that would later entwine tragically with the fate of the two victims.
I believe after 9/11 happened, he really wanted to serve his country. I say I believe because he never told me that straight forth. After it happened, he really became more patriotic and cared more about his country, and he wanted to serve. And he looked at the Army and looked at the Marine Corps and decided he wanted to be a Marine. He was out of high school for, I think it was only 10 days. He graduated, and 10 days later he was on a plane to boot camp.
What did you do in the Marine Corps?
I worked as a prison guard, and I worked on the gun, so it's like tit for tat, you know.
Eddie's work as an armorer and prison guard was served overseas in Iraq, where his father, Raymond, explains he went on several combat missions.
He really didn't want to talk about it when he got back.
Yeah.
Like most of them do. The only time I could get anything out of him when he was drinking, and then I could get some stuff out of him, but it wasn't very much.
Who's saying who's right and who's wrong? You know, nobody wants to admit that they're right. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to admit that they're wrong. Mm-hmm. I'm the only man that can change it.
Yeah.
That's why these are behind my back right now.
Yeah.
It was when Eddie returned from a volunteer mission in Haiti after the earthquake of 2010 that they began noticing significant changes in his mental state.
He was there for, I want to say, almost 6 months.
6 months. Do you remember any letters he wrote you, telling you what was going on there?
Yeah, he was telling us he's picking up dead bodies with a grappling hook, dragging them out of the water, and then throwing them in the front end loader, and then loading them up in the dump truck, and then putting them in a grave.
They further explained that when Eddie returned, he began having nightmares and flashbacks. What truly alarmed them, however, was his apparent descent into dangerous delusions.
He asked me to feel of his muscles, and I felt of his muscles, and he said, they're going away, Mom. My muscles are going away. They're disappearing. I said, well, son, your muscles, you're fine. Your muscles are fine. And he said, no, I got a tapeworm, and it's eating me alive.
Eddie soon began expressing thoughts about taking his own life. At the VA hospital, he was diagnosed with PTSD, prescribed medication, and released back into the care of his parents. However, he would soon return to the hospital, as Eddie's rampant paranoia would only escalate, and the next time, it wouldn't be his own life he would threaten. Meanwhile, Ranger Briley has yet to uncover how Eddie wound up at the firing range with Chris and Chad, likely prompting his next question.
How did you meet Chris?
He was the one that was protecting the schools. My mom, she was a teacher.
School teacher?
Then when I finally met the guy, I could smell him, I smelled it for what he was worth. I was like, no.
What's his last name?
He was a Kyle.
Kyle?
Yeah, he was Kyle.
And what's that other guy's name?
I couldn't even remember.
When was the first time you met the other guy?
First time I ever met either one of them was yesterday. I didn't know who they were or not,
Yeah. Okay.
I knew who they were, but I didn't know, who they were.
Okay.
It's very evident now who they were because I'm obviously here on the top side of the world, so
yeah.
They're not.
The revelation that Eddie knew neither of the victims further deepens the mystery of how they ended up at the firing range together. The devastating truth would soon be revealed. For now, Ranger Briley further questions Eddie, while his answers continue to blur the lines of reality.
How did you meet them? Did you meet them at your house, or did...
They came and got me at my house, so...
And then where did they take you?
We drove down into the country out there, and then we went and did some shooting sports,
What kind of shooting sports?
Well, I imagine they're headhunters, Mm-hmm. Trying to hunt everybody down. They did them wrong before, I'm not trying to hunt down anybody that I did wrong. Are you?
I try to be as reasonable and normal as I can.
I try to be as normal and as reasonable as I can every day, and I think about it every day, and I'm like, I'm pretty damn reasonable.
Yeah.
I'm pretty damn fair.
Right. What happened out there today on the shooting sports? What kind of guns?
I was reasonable and fair with them boys, They looked at me in the eyes, and I looked at them in the eyes, and then...
And what happened to them today is from your perspective?
well, I can't just keep eating my soul up about this, you know?
You're right.
And you can't just keep letting people eat your soul up for free, you know? It's not what it's about. It's about having the soul that you have in you for yourself. And I still got tons of people that are eating on my soul right now. I haven't even been able to sleep. Because I've been waiting for them to come back and get my soul.
Despite continued outpatient treatment with the VA hospital, Eddie's paranoid behavior continued to decline, as his father Raymond explains.
He was at the lake and he started talking about a demon coming out in him. And then he started telling me he was a vampire, and then he told me he was a werewolf. And I looked around one time and he had my pistol. I had to go get my pistol away from him. I unloaded it and put it in the trunk. Went back out there, he had it again, and I took it back away from him, and I took all my bullets and threw it in the lake. Because he was saying he wanted to blow his brains out. And I asked him why. He was going, Dad, I don't know. There's something in my head telling me I need to go. And I said, well, son, you can't do it on my watch. You know, a dad can't watch his own son die.
Eventually, Eddie's mental state reached a dangerous breaking point. Jody describes one terrifying incident on January 17th, just 2 weeks before the shootings, in which he held both his girlfriend and her roommate Jen hostage.
So he was over there with her, and he just became very paranoid that somebody was trying to get in and hurt her and her roommate. And Jen kept saying, nobody's trying to get us, you know, we're fine. And then he went and got a knife from the kitchen and was guarding the door. Said he wasn't about to let anybody hurt her. He'd hurt her first before he let someone else hurt her.
According to the roommate's statement, Eddie made multiple threatening comments and refused to let either of them leave. She secretly sent texts to her friend, who contacted the police. They arrived shortly after, arresting Eddie.
It was actually a former Marine police officer that came, and she told him that she wasn't as fearful for herself as she was for him. She was more afraid for his safety. So he transported him over to Green Oaks Hospital there in Dallas, and they kept him overnight, and the next day, and on Monday, they transferred him over to the VA.
Eddie was discharged from the VA hospital the following Thursday, January 31st, just 2 days before the tragic shootings took place. As the interview continues, Eddie's confusing explanations continue to muddy the events at the firing range.
What did these guys say to you today when you were with them? What did they tell you?
They didn't really talk to me about much, you know. They were just talking about like common men, you know.
Yeah, tell me what they said to you.
Well, you can't walk around as a common man in a world of stakes, you know.
Is that what they told you?
If that's what the world has seen me as,
I want you to tell me
or a mistake. I'm not a mistake. I'm tired of missing out on my life because of this.
I want you to tell me what these men told you today, these heroes you were with. Tell me what they told you today.
Well, you know, they're telling me about, you know, stuff they've done, stuff that they've experienced and stuff. Well, I've already seen that stuff on the other side of the pond.
You have?
Yeah. And I came back to this one, and it's happening more and more rampant, even more here in Lancaster than anywhere. You know.
And how are they helping you today?
Who's that? Which men?
The men that you killed. How are they helping you today? When they were talking to you?
Talking to me pretty about it, you know. Pretty.
What did they say?
Neither side was being nice about it, you know.
Though Eddie's explanations remain unclear, his mother Jody was able to explain the heartbreaking truth of how he came to meet Chris and Chad, and what they may have been doing together at the firing range.
It was the day he ended up getting out of the hospital. Chris Kyle's children went to the school where I work, and he would drop them off every morning where I had duty. And I knew he helped veterans with PTSD. So I opened the car door when his kids got out, opened the front door, and I said, "Hey, Mr. Kyle, do you still work for, you know, the company that helps veterans with PTSD?" And he said, "Yes, ma'am, I do." I said, "Well, my son's very sick, and he really needs help, and we're just not getting the help we need at the VA."
I explained to him kind of what had been going on with Eddie, a lot of the things I just told you. And I said he just needs help so desperately, and I don't know what to do anymore. He said, Ms. Routh, I'll do everything in my power to help your son. And I started to cry because I was happy that somebody, some person that I don't really even know, was willing to help my son. And he said then, he goes, I'm going to get together with Eddie this weekend. And I said, that'll be good. That'll be really good. And the next day was the 2nd of February. And I didn't even know really that Mr. Connell was coming to get Eddie. But they had talked and set this up to go out to the gun range.
While on the way to the firing range, Chad and Chris would send text messages to one another. The haunting details of what they discussed would soon send chills down the investigators' spines. In the meantime, though, the mystery of how they met Eddie is resolved. The question of why he shot the two men remains to be seen.
You know, what you did today is wrong, right? You understand that?
Yes, sir.
What do you think should happen?
Nothing. Keep covering it up forever.
That's the reason you fled, right? Because you knew it was wrong?
Well, I knew that there was certain that was wrong about it.
Some of that certain was killing him. You knew that was wrong. Right?
Right.
And you knew driving away, taking that truck was wrong. And where did you drive to after that?
Well, if I was so right, I should have just stayed.
Although Eddie will soon reveal his motives, his cryptic explanations will leave investigators struggling to make sense of them. For now, the puzzling details surrounding the incident finally begin to come together.
How many times did you shoot them today?
A couple few.
A couple few?
A couple few shots were fired.
How close were you to them?
Hell, I was right up close to them. I didn't mean to be so close, but...
Did they know you were going to shoot them? They didn't know? Why do you think that?
Because their training wasn't as good. My training's been better, my whole life.
While they may not have known Eddie's intentions, they were wary of his behavior. At 2:30 p.m., Chris sent a text to Chad saying, "This dude is straight up nuts." Chad responded, "Sitting behind me, watch my six," which is military slang for watch my back. Soon after, Eddie opened fire. Chris and Chad were each shot 6 times at close range, with some shots being fired after they'd fallen to the ground. Eddie then fled the scene, making several stops afterward. Eddie first went to his Uncle James' house, where he showed him the firearm used to shoot the men, with claims he was driving a dead man's truck. Next, he stopped at his sister's house, where he confessed to the horrific crimes. He then went to his house to pick up his dog. From there, he visited a Taco Bell restaurant before finally returning to his house, where the standoff began. In a haunting confession, Eddie finally shares his twisted reasons for pulling the trigger.
Who did you shoot first?
The ones that I could identify with better. Clearly identify.
Mm-hmm.
The one that I could clearly identify, I knew if I did not take out his soul, he was coming to take mine next. Or one of his gangsters was coming to take one of my souls next. One of his kids' gangsters.
Mm-hmm.
As the interview ends, it appears as though a few questions still linger on Ranger Briley's mind.
You tried to run from the police. I heard them talking to you, trying to get you to give up. What I heard them saying is, just come get out. Surrender, right?
So they're saying.
Why weren't you complying? Because of what happened? Okay.
Yep.
What do you want to tell your mom?
I love her.
What do you tell your sister?
I love her too.
Do you wish this had never happened? Seemed like you want to cry about it.
I do a little bit.
I see the water in your eyes.
Yeah.
If you could take it back, you would?
As Ranger Briley leaves the room, Eddie once again chats with the officer just off camera, sure to leave him with a lasting impression.
So is there anybody we can talk to about getting these cuffs off and let me get a smoke, or?
That dude that just left, that's who's gonna be doing all the talking to.
We might have to go outside and smoke some, so.
You ain't got no cigarettes.
I'll have some before long. It's only a matter of time, you know.
Where you gonna get cigarettes from?
They're coming.
Well, can you get some Blue Hell ice cream coming too?
Yeah.
Hell, I'm eating all night.
You know, you got plenty to eat on there. I don't got nothing to eat on, you know. I haven't eaten none of my soul today. Everybody just keeps eating off my soul. So, for that I say, y'all can eat my and die. Try to eat my soul. Eat and die. When pigs fly, eat and die.
Charged with 2 counts of capital murder, Eddie is soon transported to the county jail to await trial. According to court documents, he was overheard by a deputy saying, "I shot them because they wouldn't talk to me," adding, "I'm sure they've forgiven me." Eddie entered a plea of not guilty by reason of insanity. At his trial, experts presented conflicting views, some supporting and others questioning Eddie's state of mind during the incident. The jury ultimately found him guilty of 2 counts of capital murder, and on February 24, 2015, 25-year-old Eddie Ray Routh was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole and ordered to pay $116,250 in restitution. Though he appealed the conviction in December 2015, the sentence was upheld. He's currently imprisoned at the Texas Department of Criminal Justice in Rocheron, Texas.